It's Wednesday, the 29th of January, 2025. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories to get through in 5 minutes, and story number 1 is a whopper. The emergence of China-based DeepSeek has sent tech stocks around the globe tumbling, with leader Nvidia at one point losing close to $1 trillion in value. That is the biggest loss in value terms ever by a company in just one session.
DeepSeek's AI assistant is a chatbot to rival ChatGPT. It was the most downloaded app on Apple's iPhone store on Monday. What scared investors is that a China startup has caught up with American companies at a fraction of the cost. If that's the case, then has the vast amounts of money US tech companies have spent on data centers and chips and AI actually been worth it? The Chinese haven't got a better chip or a better chatbot. It's just a much, much cheaper one. It's also open source, free to use, so other developers can jump on board. Significantly, it uses NVIDIA chips to train the system, but not as many as rivals such as ChatGPT. And they're not even the highest performing chips. If true, the world may not need as many NVIDIA chips, hence the big sell-off yesterday. NVIDIA released a statement saying DeepSeek's work was an excellent AI advancement. How to wrap this up? It's kind of like the equivalent of why buy a Tesla when a BYD will do. China isn't as far behind in the tech arms race as the US thought.
So what's it mean then, Sean, for investment markets? That's probably the big question.
Yeah, it spooked them. I mean, it's a bit unclear exactly how the veracity of some of these reports. Clearly, it hit NVIDIA shares hard. If China can create a chat GPT equivalent at a much lower cost, and we're talking about a $6 million cost as opposed to hundreds of billions of dollars, what else can they do? Are the big Wall Street tech companies really worth as much as we thought? Do we need as many data centers? Do we need as much energy as we thought? That has a flow through to all sorts of sectors. Of course, the magnificent tech stocks are the big players in global investing. Are they actually worth as much as we thought they were? That's what we've still got to find out.
Okay, moving on to story number 2 now, Sean. It is a big day today, I-Day, I suppose we'll call it, with inflation figures due for release at 11:30 a.m. What are markets predicting will actually happen?
Well, the 3-year bond rate, which shows expectations of interest rates on average over the next 3 years, hit its lowest point in 6 weeks yesterday, 3.82%. In fact, bond markets reckon there's a 68% chance of a rate cut next month, 100% chance by the end of April. The shock in the tech stocks that I've just talked about, that's kind of helping this argument that the Reserve Bank needs to cut rates. The figures are out late this morning. If we get 0.5% quarterly underlying reading, well, a rate cut is on. 0.7% rate cuts off. 0.6%, well, depends who you ask.
All right, story number 3. The AFL, Sean, would significantly increase the amount of money it takes from wagering on the sport under a proposal that its administrators have put to the country's big bookmakers.
The AFL is negotiating with major gambling companies, including Tabcorp, Sportsbet, Entain, on a deal that would allow them to keep offering sports betting products in exchange for giving the sport a cut of the proceeds, according to a report in the Fin Review. They're known as product fees. It's pretty common across sports and bookmakers around the world. The Australian Rugby League has an agreement, so to the A-League, the Australian Open Tennis. Now, the AFL makes up to $40 million in product fees from bookmakers every year, but it only gets 0.9%. It wants 1.5% of turnover. What's a turnover? Well, that's actually the bookmaker's turnover or total revenue. So it wants to go from 0.9 to 1.5. At the moment, 40 million. NRL receives 50 million. We'll keep an eye on this story.
Indeed, we will. Story number 4, Japan's Honda Motor Company has set a target of capturing 50% of the world's motorcycle market by 2030. That's a lofty goal.
It certainly is. They say 60 million units will be sold by 2030. That's electric and petrol. Currently, Honda sells about 20 million a year, which is about 40% of the market. Once you get to 50% of the market, their focus is on India, Indonesia, Philippines, Brazil. It hopes to have 30 e-models globally by 2030. It wants to sell 4 million e-bikes. Not a motorbike rider myself, but I reckon half the fun of a motorbike is the noise. I don't think an e-bike's going to give me that.
You're not looking for a hum there, Sean?
No, afraid not.
The story number 5 is an early contender for my favourite story of the week, Sean. A prototype of a passenger jet meant to succeed the Concorde was due to attempt to break the sound barrier for the first time overnight. That's more than 1,240 kilometres per hour. That is quick.
Boom is the company. Its supersonic XB-1 demonstrator was due to exceed the barrier in a series of 4-minute runs above the Mojave Desert in California. The US firm hopes it will pave the way for the introduction of passenger services early next decade, according to the Telegraph of London. What I thought was pretty cool, Michael, Boom's jet was flying in the same airspace where Chuck Yeager became the first person to exceed the speed of sound back in 1947. Last night's plane is 1/3 the size of Boom's potential passenger jet, which when manufactured will carry about 65 passengers, cost around $400 million, and get people from point A to B very, very quickly.
That is a great story, that one, Sean. There we go, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Wednesday, the 29th of January, 2025. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.